Alright everybody, Season 5, Episode 1 of Black Mirror. It's going to be really hard for me to make a review without spoiling any of the interesting plot points in Black Mirror. So instead of me being excessively vague, I'm going to go ahead and do a spoiler review. So we start off with the Falcon, you know, the guy from Avengers or whatever. We start off with that character sitting there barbecuing at his own birthday party. You get the sense that he's just going through the mundane, boring kind of chug of life, just kind of going on through, not really having anything appealing to him. He feels bored in the show, and you can really sense that. So during his birthday party, one of his old homies shows up, you know, one of his old friends maybe from high school that used to play video games with. He shows up at his birthday party and greets him a happy birthday. They haven't seen each other for years, but you get the sense that they were good friends back in the past. There's some, mediocre dialogue about how homie, his friend, kind of broke up with his girlfriend about a year back. I guess they had, a 10-year relationship. But don't even worry about that. We're going to get into some of the cool stuff in a minute. So homie comes up to him, or surprises him with a new video game for his birthday called Striking Vipers. It's like Viper 7 or something like that. This game is a VR-based game. Not the VR that we have where you stick it on your eyes and you kind of virtual reality that way, but like Matrix-level virtual reality. And they use the same little device that they've kind of used in a couple of episodes of Black Mirror now, where you kind of stick it there. It looks like a Post-it note. You just kind of stick right there on your temple, and then it kind of sucks you back into whatever virtual world you're going into. They use that again in this particular episode. In this particular game, you can feel all the kicks, punches, scrapes, all that stuff, all the things that you'd see in a fighting video game. You feel all that pain when you get punched and kicked in that virtual reality. But none of it stays, so it's not like you're going to die in the video game. But we'll get into that in a second. There's some interesting stuff about how you can feel punches and kicks and stuff like that. And it's not what you're expecting. Also, interesting note, when you pick your characters before entering the game, you actually become that character in the actual game. So if I decided to pick a woman character, I would actually be a woman in the game. I'd feel like a woman. I could grab my boobs like a woman. I could do all that regular stuff that a woman could do. If you pick a bear, you'd be like that bear. If you picked a jack dude, you'd feel energetic, jacked, you'd feel muscly and toned, just like you were that character in real life, or that person in real life. So, one night, homie decides to send Falcon a request to play Striking Vipers online, right? So, he goes, alright, I'll go ahead and play with you, buddy. He puts a little Post-it note on his head, he goes into the game, he picks his character that he normally plays in this Tekken-based game. He picks kind of looks like Ryu, Asian guy, jacked, in the white coat, everything, the white gi or whatever. Everything's cool. His friend picks the girl character, like he normally does when he plays the regular video game, the not VR video game. So they go into the game, and guess what happens next? So once they started fighting, they got really intimate with each other, and I don't just mean, oh, they were getting really intense in the fighting game. They started French kissing each other, right? Anyways, that's what happens. They start French kissing each other, and they start making out like they're new lovers or something like that. And this is what I'm saying. Best friends with each other, both dudes, end up making out with each other in the game. Now, granted, one of them is a guy and the other one's a girl, so homie technically doesn't have a pass because he's a girl having sex with a dude, but Falcon, our main character, he at least is looking at an attractive Asian female fighter and he's having sex with them. But anyways, it's obviously an awkward moment for the two friends, I guess you could say. The funniest part happens next is when they try to explain to each other what happened. One's talking oh, hey, buddy, I'm so sorry for last night. I was a little drunk. And the other's yeah, I was a little tipsy, too. There's no explaining that, dude. You can't just make out with your best friend and try to explain yourself by saying, oh, yeah, I was just a little drunk, dude. No homo. When no homo goes too far, you know what I mean?
Oh, my.
The episode ends up becoming Brokeback Mountain Part 2. It becomes about these friends that are supposed to be straight dudes end up finding a relationship with each other in this video game. All joking aside and all awkwardness aside, this episode has a lot of thought-provoking ideas in it that I'd like to get into. The episode dives into sexuality and kind of that whole trans story. And what I mean by trans story, I mean like that story where a guy will go to a bar and he'll find an attractive female. He'll bring his attractive female back to his house, have sex with her, and all that great stuff or whatever. But then he finds out later that that girl that he was having sex with ends up being a dude. And it's kind of that thought-provoking experiment where it's like, is that gay? Is it gay that you had sex with a dude even though that dude looks like an attractive female? It fools you enough into thinking that. Somebody who, I guess you'd say, passes as a female. Now, I'm not talking about Falcon here. Falcon kind of has kind of a weird circumstance where it goes down that story path that I was just explaining, but Homie doesn't have that. He likes penis. You know what I mean? He's having sex with a dude. He likes the attractiveness of a dude, but we're talking about Falcon right here. That guy, he has different sexuality. Everything's fine with that, but just we're sticking on Falcon for storyline purposes, okay? Arguably, it would be not gay to have sex with a dude that looked like a female at that time, because really, I mean, if for example a person is let's say if you're sexually attracted to a person and that person looks like a female, talks like a female, acts like a female, has all the equipment that you could say that is a female, it's hard to even, I guess you'd say, consider if that would be gay or not. The weird part is the awkwardness afterwards when you figure out if that person's a dude. And that's where the mental, I guess you'd say, argument happens in a person's head if they ever got into that certain situation. And I feel like that's what the show was trying to kind of describe, was that awkward situation of knowing a person that you just had sex with that looked like a woman but actually is a dude, and if that would be gay or not. And the other argument is like, let's say you end up having a relationship with somebody, and you have a relationship, they've even had that they've had this story on the news before, but let's say a person has a relationship with somebody and they've had it for a long time, but during that time they find out that person's actually the opposite sex and they had a sex transition. Would you still be with that person even though you know that person is genetically a male or, female, whoever opposite sex that you are? If they're genetically let's say a male and I'm a male, would you dump that person just because they are a male? Now, obviously, if you're a normal person, you kind of think about that, and it's a very awkward situation in your head. But I like how in this particular story, they use video games and someone changing into a different character, per se, as that transition between like a man and a woman in the, I guess you'd say, the trans world. And I think that was a very thought-provoking experiment that they did in this show. A little edgier and a little more awkward, but I thought at least it was a very good discussion for people to have, and at least to think about in the long term. Personally, I thought it was a really interesting thought discussion, and I want to know what you guys think, so definitely comment below. And I'm not going to discriminate against you guys. If you guys have completely opposite opinions than I do, and if you have any weird thoughts or whatever, I would like you to post it down below. I want to know what you guys have to say about this, because I thought the episode was really entertaining. It was super awkward. Me and my wife were laughing the whole time because it was such a weird, I guess it'd say, little left turn they pulled in the episode. But I'd like to know what you guys think. Please comment. I want to know. So I'm going to go ahead and do a different ranking system when it comes to shows and movies. Instead of doing like, okay, it's 10 out of 10, it's 9 out of 10, it's 8 out of 10. I'm not going to do that. It just seems boring for me, and I think it's boring for everyone else. They've already seen that, on IGN and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and do something a little bit different. I'm going to do an RPG ranking, like, an RPG video game, where it goes F, D, C, C, B, A plus, and then what I'm going to do is, instead of an S at the end, for like, how in RPGs they always have the S for the best or whatever, I'm going to put a Z instead. So we're going to do a Z instead of an S because Zach's the best and I'm the best and you guys know it, so we're going to do it like that. And for me particularly, I think this episode was pretty thought-provoking even though it was really awkward. And to be honest with you, anything that's very thought-provoking shouldn't be, I guess you'd say, like, it shouldn't be easy to talk about. You know what I mean? It should be something that's either really interesting, hard to talk about, or something very provocative, you know what I mean, that most people wouldn't want to talk about. So for me, I give this episode a B+ on the scale of everything. It's not it wasn't anything like super exciting or mind-blowing. It didn't have any real big twists and turns that made me just go, just kind of flip out of the chair. The climax wasn't that great at the end of the show. I'm going to let you guys kind of see that for yourself if you guys haven't. But for me, I think it's a B+. It's way better than average. It's better than any of the episodes so far that I've seen when it comes to just average episodes. But it's not at, like, master tier rank, you know what I mean? So it's not at the Z scale like me. It would be probably not even below that. I would say it's probably about B+ for me. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a B+. What do you guys think? I wanted you guys to tell me what this episode was like for you and, you know, how you turned to your friend. Because I can imagine, like, two bros just sitting on the couch together watching this episode. And you guys are like, we're going to play video games after this episode. And then they look at each other and go, oh, shit. That would be the funniest thing. But please please comment below. I love this little thought-provoking experiment. Please, I want to hear you guys. So see you guys. Please watch me some more. I'm going to be posting more videos about Black Mirror. And just keep in touch. So like, share, and subscribe if you guys want to see more. I'll probably be within the next couple of days posting another Black Mirror review. So please, you guys, please keep in touch. See ya.